What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes. She's coming straight from the Berg. She is none other than Shay Hickson. Shay, what's going on, my friend?
Just getting completely screwed up by this holiday. Like, I keep thinking today's Monday,
Oh
and then I'm
no.
like, oh wait, it's actually Tuesday. I'm like, it's good. It's just work never stops. Work makes it seem like it's still Monday, but that's all right though. We're almost to the end of we're almost halfway there already, so I
Oh,
can't complain too
oh,
much.
oh, the joys of being an adult.
It's it's not all it's cracked up to be, but
for
if
all
you want
you
the fun stuff, you need the money.
for all you young listeners out there, stay young while you can.
Yeah, like, it's so tough because it's like if you want the fun stuff, you need the money for the fun stuff, so you need a job, but everything else that comes with it, I don't think's worth it. But
I hear you. I hear you. Well, guys, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. It's a podcast about pro wrestling where Shay and I talk about what's going on in the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor. Basically, we talk about wrestling on this podcast as much as we can, and sometimes we even let you guys get in on the fun by asking us questions. But tonight, we have a very special episode because tonight we're going to be going through the Clash in Paris card and talking about Clash in Paris that happened this past Saturday. Or Sunday rather. What a show it was. Paris, oh man, that crowd is legendary. I think that's probably the greatest crowd to ever exist.
yeah, it's almost like maybe we should just like give the US like put them in a timeout for a little bit and just do some stuff out in Paris for a while because that crowd always shows up and does not disappoint, and they did not disappoint throughout the whole night. And what else is new? We're used to it from the European crowds. Again, I think as unfortunately fans in the States, we're very spoiled of having this stuff all the time,
Yeah.
and it's very obvious with the crowds. And I'm glad the European crowds don't take it for granted because we sure as hell do.
That we do. We are very spoiled here in the States, and that's the funny thing about these shows is that every time these shows happen, the one question is, well, why can't we be as rambunctious and boisterous and as loud as they are? And the question, the answer to that is very simple: is we can, we just choose not
Yeah,
to. Um,
yeah,
and I think the best part about it is it doesn't take away from the show. It adds to the show because, especially with the French crowd, they were locked in for every match for both Clash in Paris and Raw and on SmackDown. They were locked in for every match and they had their attention fixated on every match, which was cool to see.
yeah. I honestly, you hit the nail on the head. It's fans in the States could act like that, but they just choose not to. But I feel like the problem is when they choose to, it goes the other way of they hijack the show and everything,
Right.
which I don't think we remember where that line is, or we don't know how to actually behave because we're just in the States. What else is new? But yeah, we just continuously get put to shame and always get so offended when everyone's just like, wow, the crowds in the States really suck. And we're like, how dare you? And then do nothing to change it. So we create our own misery on that one, unfortunately.
Very true, very true. Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Shay and I are going to be going through the entire Clash in Paris card, giving our thoughts on each of the match, and also giving our match ratings using flame emojis. Unlike Dave Meltzer, who uses stars, we use flame emojis because it's 2025 and we try to stay modern. So
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about each match and all that stuff and going through the card, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. All right, the show started off Clash in Paris, started off with the Tribal Thief versus the Tribal Chief. Very interesting match, a coming out party, I would say, for Bronson Reed, the biggest match of his WWE career, taking on Roman Reigns. Now, this match kind of, I wouldn't say came out of thin air, but Bronson has
Mm.
been stealing his shoes for a while. I didn't think this was going to lead to a singles match, but I'm glad it did. I actually enjoyed this match very much. I felt like this match was sort of a way to say that Bronson is on the same level as his Vision stablemate Braun Breaker, you know, and
Yeah.
that
Oh
he
yeah.
could be trusted in a big match situation against Roman Reigns. This was the biggest match of his career, and I think he delivered. What'd you think of the match?
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. We even talked about it in the predictions that on paper it was such an easy match to like predict. We knew Roman was going to win because there was no point for him not to. So we said the good thing about those kind of no shit prediction kind of matches was that you can focus more on the other person
Right.
where okay, we already know Roman's winning, so okay, if that's the case, then put more focus on Bronson Reed and how good he is, because we've talked about many times where you can win even if you lose, and this was absolutely a great case of that actually happening because they made Bronson look really good. He had an answer for everything Roman had. It was almost just like Roman looked like an amateur next to him, which was good because that's what you wanted. And then sets up the big comeback. Roman finally breaks through. You get the win, and then all the shit that happens afterwards. We kind of knew it was coming because Roman has to go, what, film another movie or something. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but
Might be
we
the new
knew,
Street Fighter movie with Cody.
yeah, that's probably what it is. So, we weren't really surprised for what happened afterwards, but yeah, the match itself, it just, good on them for making Bronson look like an unstoppable monster that just slipped up one time, and that's all a guy like Roman needs to get the win. And it had some good, like, or they had some good moments, like when Roman tried to spear him and he caught him in that power bomb. That was a
Yeah,
really good counter, so good.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad they gave more attention to Bronson and showed what he could do and make him the unstoppable monster he's supposed to be in the Vision. And yeah, I was definitely glad that was the opener. It was definitely a great opener, and the crowd was definitely into it.
Yeah, it was an excellent opener, an excellent choice for an opener. Match went very well, and again, it was a coming out party for Bronson Reed to show that he can get it done in a big match situation. Although he didn't get the win, like you said earlier, sometimes in a loss you can also come out looking like a winner. And I think this established Bronson Reed as a true threat to anyone, not just Roman Reigns,
Yeah.
but to anyone really. And a lot of the focus is like what you talked about just a second ago, the ending of the match where Roman got the win and he got his shoes back. Although he just all he did was cut up his shoes and toss them into the stands autograph. So
Yeah.
whoever caught one of Roman's shoes, I'm sure it's probably up on eBay, or else I would have put it up on eBay. Because what am I gonna do with a size whatever shoe? One shoe. What am I gonna do with that? It's going on eBay anyway.
Yeah.
As he was throwing it into the crowd, out of nowhere comes Braun Breaker and spears him through the other announce table. And they beat down Roman savagely.
Oh,
Roman was strapped to a backboard as he was going to be placed on a stretcher. But before they could place him on a stretcher, Bronson Reed hits Roman Reigns with, I think, 3 tsunamis.
yeah. Yeah.
So, like you said, they're writing Roman off so he doesn't have to be on TV for a bit. And what a way to do it, because they made it seem like he's
Yep.
not coming back till Royal Rumble or something.
At this rate, it seems like it. But even before that, I'm glad that Roman got a little bit of revenge on Paul Heyman
That's
because,
true. I forgot about that. He did get his revenge on Paul Heyman, putting Paul Heyman in a guillotine choke and sending Paul Heyman to the hospital.
yeah, I'm sure Heyman doesn't want to go back to Paris anytime soon. He might have some PTSD after this, but at least they got some measure of revenge for him. So everybody got a little bit of revenge. And yeah, at this rate, I don't think we'll see Roman for quite a while once again. So nothing new. He'll be gone for a while, and just wheel keeps turning. So whatever.
Yeah, the vision keeps being dominant, and what a dominant group they've been so far that Seth Rollins is leading. I didn't think it would be something that would turn into this sort of big thing now, the Vision being
Yeah.
running Raw and running roughshod over everybody on Raw.
Yeah, and we were kind of hinted later in the night where Adam Pearce said, Bronson and Braun, you're out. So everybody was like, something else has got to be going on. Like, something's got to go with the main event because we even thought one of them was going to get involved in the main event. Something had to happen. They get tossed, so we're like, oh shit, are we getting a third or a fourth member? Perhaps.
Yeah.
And turns out it was way more obvious than I think everyone thought, and still worked out real well, but we'll get to that later.
For sure, for sure. So for this match, Roman Reigns getting the win over Bronson Reed, even though in the end he doesn't look like the winner. But rating this match, I gave this match 3.5 flames out of 5. What about you?
Starting off as usual, I also gave it 3.5 flames.
Very, very solid match. Very solid opener. Nothing too fancy. Nothing out of the open. Both men made each other look strong, which was very good. Roman made Bronson look good, and Bronson made Roman look good. And Bronson really needed it to establish himself as a single star, much on the level as Braun Breaker, because Braun Breaker's been doing a lot of work. And so it's good that Bronson Reed got on the same level. I gave this match 3.5 flames, and so did you.
Yep. Keep it going.
All right. Yeah, let's keep it going. Let's keep talking about the show. Next up, we had a tag team match for the WWE Tag Team Championships where the Wyatt Six, Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, defended the titles against the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. Now, this one, very interesting. They're trying to plant some seeds, maybe. What do you think? That maybe there's some dissension between Angelo and Montez of the Street Profits? I thought this was interesting.
Perhaps. I feel like people have kind of been wondering if they were ever going to split them up, because especially when they were kind of going all in on Montez Ford after a while, it was just, you thought it was going to be a matter of time, but then they kind of went away from it for a little bit. So maybe now they're actually going to do it. I don't know. But as far as the match goes, it wasn't bad, but it just kind of seemed like one of those matches where we could have just got this on SmackDown and it would have been perfectly fine. I feel like this really isn't anything we haven't seen before. It's just, I mean, the tag divisions are great, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, all right, it's just another great tag division match, go figure, but didn't really need it on the card. However, the entire crowd singing the Wyatt Six to the ring was fucking fantastic. Like, just watching it, it just gives you goosebumps. It was really cool. But unfortunately, as far as the match goes, it was just like, yeah, it's just another good tag match. We could have totally just had this on SmackDown and no one would have batted an eye.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this was a match that would have been better suited on SmackDown. I don't know what it is. I'm just not. I don't want to say I'm not on board with it. I'm just, maybe it hasn't got out of the blocks for me yet. But this Wyatt Six title reign, it's just, I don't know. It's not hitting for me just yet.
Seemed off.
A little off, and I can't really put my finger on it why. They work together. Dexter and Joe Gacy work together well as a team, and they seem to have fit into a groove working well as a team. So I don't understand why it's just not working for me. Although I do enjoy Bo Dallas kind of coming out of the Uncle Howdy form to kind of give those cryptic planting of the seeds that he was doing on SmackDown. I think that was very interesting. I think they could utilize that a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe this title reign's been kind of off because we're not really sure if we're supposed to cheer or boo the Wyatt Six. It's kind of, they're in between, but not, I don't want to say not in a good way. It's just in that way of like, are we supposed to cheer them? Are we supposed to hate them? I don't really know. Like, there's obviously exceptions to the rule, but it's almost just like, I feel like it would almost just be wrong to boo them because at the end of the day, the Wyatt Six was Bray Wyatt's kind of creation, so it's always going to be like his legacy, his tribute, so booing that would kind of be a little, so I'm not sure what they're doing. I'm wondering if maybe that's why it's so weird, but I don't know. That's the only thing I can really come up with, but I don't know.
And the thing is, too, I would love to see more of Nikki Cross and Eric Rowan. They don't get a lot of action as much as Dexter and Joe do. So I would love to see more Eric Rowan. I would love to see more Nikki Cross, and I would love to see more Uncle Howdy. I would love to
Yeah.
see more of the group rather than just the tag team part of it. I would love to see the other members get into the groove and see what they could do. As far as the match, there was no uh missteps. It wasn't clunky. It was a
No.
fine tag team match, a very fine tag team contest between the Wyatt Six, who are finding their groove, and the Street Profits, who are the Street Profits. They work well together. This was one of the shorter matches on the card, only clocking in at 13 minutes and 10 seconds. So
Yeah.
maybe it could have served better with a little bit of time, a little bit more time
Yeah.
compared to the other matches. But again, this match probably, like you said, probably would have been better suited on SmackDown. I ended up giving this match 3 1/4 flames.
I too gave it 3 1/4 flames. It was good, just nothing to write home about.
I'm telling you guys, she's copying my homework. She is
You're just
copying.
mad because you don't have the title. We'll
Oh,
get to that later, but
listen.
mm,
All right, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about
uh-huh.
that. We're just going to move on and talk about the match that happened for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky
Ugh.
Lynch versus Nikki Bella. And this one,
Yikes.
this one wasn't that great.
No, and it sucks because it would be very easy to just blame it on Nikki because let's be honest, Becky was pulling overtime in this match and it was very obvious. And it was very obvious that Nikki was very, very rusty, and I'm sure it didn't help that the crowd did not like her at all. Could she have been rattled a little bit? Maybe, but I feel like again, it's so easy just to blame Nikki because she was the one that was making these glaring missteps, and they were not ones that you could hide behind. They were very glaringly obvious, but I feel like they kind of set her up to fail as a whole because they didn't really give her any matches leading up to this to like actually get rid of the ring rust and prepare for a match like this. It was just, all right, we're just going to throw you straight into the deep end. You got it right. And
Yeah.
clearly that wasn't the case because the ring rust was very apparent in this one, and it's a shame because this one could have been a very good match. I feel like creative and backstage people and whatever kind of got a little complacent with Nikki. Like I said, in the sense of like, oh, you're Nikki Bella, you'll be fine. You don't need to worry about it. But yeah, it just showed she could have used a couple extra matches, and I feel like this match would have gotten out of the gate better. And I feel like I would have rated this maybe a little bit higher. But I feel like just for the fact of how disjointed and clunky it was, it didn't move the flames one way or the other, so I just gave this one a straight 3 flames.
Okay. Yeah, Nikki Bella only had one match prior to this match, which was part of
Yeah.
a 8-woman tag match. So there wasn't really a lot for her to get ready to get, the rust off of her.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it was a chemistry thing because it wasn't like clunky in that sort of way where they couldn't communicate. They were still getting the spots off. It just kind of looked like you said disjointed.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. See, the thing is, Nikki Bella, before she left, right? Before she
Mhm.
left and went on her way, like she was just starting to get regular wrestling matches, and there were regular wrestling matches featuring the ladies on the card because at that time, that's when the Charlotte Flairs and the Sasha Banks and the Baileys
Yep.
and the Becky Lynches were starting to come on the scene and show, oh wow, the women can really work, and some of them work better than the men. And Becky didn't have much, or not Becky, or Nikki didn't have much exposure to that before she
Yeah.
left and had retired for a brief moment. So it was almost like two different generations of wrestlers. You know,
Yeah.
one that was kind of the workhorse, and Becky Lynch, who was used to working in the ring and working spots and all that stuff, and Nikki Bella, who comes from the Divas era of wrestling. I don't want to talk down on Nikki Bella. It's just I don't know if she was ever really used to having somebody that she had to work with, you know, in terms of a
Yeah.
wrestling sense. I think that's what it is. Um,
Yeah.
and Becky's just too good that if you're not on her level or anywhere close, she's gonna look like she's miles ahead of you.
Yeah, you're
Um,
gonna get run over.
yeah, you're gonna definitely tell that it was kind of a carry job. I don't understand why the French crowd was so hard on Nikki.
Yeah.
But they were really tough on her. They
Yeah, they
were
didn't give a shit.
yeah, they were really tough on her, and bless her heart, she tried to work, and she tried to make spots work, but it just wasn't clicking. It just wasn't clicking.
No.
I did enjoy the end where Becky Lynch gets the what she called the lynch pin.
Yeah, which is a
Where
good name. It's a
yeah,
great name.
it is. And the fact that she didn't embarrass Nikki by beating her clean with her finisher or disarmer or
Yeah.
making Nikki tap. She kind of caught Nikki off guard and hit her with a backslide pin that she called the lynch pin. So I kind of like
Yeah.
that better because I feel like if she would have made Nikki tap or she would have beat Nikki clean with like the manhandle slam or something like that, it probably would
Yeah.
have made Nikki look worse.
Yeah, it would have been like, stop, she's already dead. Just don't make it any worse.
Yeah.
At the time I was mad because I was like, well, I'm in trouble because Becky didn't cheat or anything, but once you see that match, it's like, yeah, I don't think Becky would have needed to cheat because that would have definitely made Nikki look even worse. So yeah, in hindsight it was probably better that way, but oh god, just yikes. Yikes. That's all I can say about that match is just yikes.
So you gave this match 3 flat. I ended up going with 3 1/4 to be generous, and
You're the nicer one out of the two of us, I guess.
which is very interesting because usually I feel like I'm always very much a stickler with these
Yeah,
ratings.
I feel like we flipped lately. Like at first you were the one where you were kind of the stickler and I was being nice, and then I feel like over time we've kind of like flip-flopped a little bit where I'm a little harder on it now and you're like, "Ah, no, I'll give him an extra like quarter of a flame just to be nice." And I'm like, "Nope, I'm not doing it. I refuse."
That's very funny, yeah. But Becky Lynch ended up catching Nikki Bella with a backslide and getting the 1, 2, 3 and retaining the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Shay gives the match 3 flames flat. I give it 3 1/4 flames out of 5. And now we move on to one of the special attraction matches that they had on the card. It was a good old fashioned Donnybrook match between Rusev and Sheamus. And this one, let me tell you, much like the other ones that they've been having in this series of matches, Rusev and Sheamus basically beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I think that's if we had to put it in one sentence, that is literally all we needed. It's just those two just beat the shit out of each other. But my thing is that were we really surprised that these two had a fantastic match? Like, we shouldn't be because any match they've had leading up to this point already told us that this was going to be fantastic and could have like stole the show. And I feel like it was pretty close to doing that because these two just have fantastic chemistry. You can put them in a regular match, a stipulation match. They're going to always show up and show out every time. I'm a little surprised, though. I'm a little surprised that Sheamus didn't win because we both picked him because we're like, they got to give him something.
Right.
And they turned around and said, yeah, you two are completely wrong. And yeah, they gave Rusev the win. I guess maybe they're setting him up for something, but poor Sheamus, man. What does he got to do? What does he got to do to get something around here? I don't know, but I thoroughly enjoyed the match. It was painful in some spots, kind of what we expected, but yeah, I think everybody was just happy that we got a very good match after the previous one. I think we just needed something. But yeah, those two absolutely delivered 100%.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they delivered a big match in a big way. I was paying close attention to this match because I said to myself, if there's a match on the card that could steal the show, it could be this one, and I want to see exactly where it can happen. So the match started off kind of slow.
Yeah.
They were doing the spots. I think where the match really picked up is when they started battling on the outside and they ended up on
Hmm.
top of the whiskey barrels. When they started
Oh
on
yes.
top of the whiskey barrels, then you started seeing that A, there's some danger to this match, and two, they're just gonna beat the hell out of each other. And I said while I was watching it that this is what makes Sheamus the best, is that he can go out there, he can beat people up and get beat up at the same time. And Rusev's like the perfect antagonist for that, to beat him up.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to get someone to look good while beating Sheamus up. Like, Sheamus is
Yeah.
usually the bigger out of the two. Anytime he faces someone, he's the brawler. He's the one that always comes down on top. So to find someone like Rusev, who's kind of like his equal counterpart, is very neat. And this is why they have good chemistry with each other. I love the spot where the white noise off the barrels through the table was pretty neat. The
Ah, ow.
way the way Rusev applied the accolade, and he kind
Hmm.
of bent back all the way to add some extra
Ugh.
torque, and then he had
Back hurt.
yeah, he had a piece of the shillelagh in the mouth of Sheamus. I mean, that's a pretty convincing way to get Sheamus to tap out.
Yeah.
And like you said, I was surprised too. I was really surprised that Sheamus tapped out, but I was very happy with the match. I gave the match 3 3/4 flames out of 5.
I also gave it 3 3/4 flames out of 5. It was just up until that point, that was easily the best match of the night. Um, it definitely had some competition afterwards, but from what we had up until that point, absolutely match of the night for sure.
For sure, for sure. I definitely would say it was the match of the night, and it definitely picked up. And the Paris crowd, as they were for every match, was very, very into the match, and they were definitely into the next match. It was a singles match. We're counting down the days. There are only a couple days left we get to spend with Mr. John Cena, and on this retirement tour, he has a stop in Paris, France, to take on Logan Paul here at Clash in Paris. Now, let me ask you: there's been a lot of criticism with this retirement tour. Some people are not feeling it. Some people are saying they kind of wasted it with the heel turn, only for him to go back. Some people say he's wasting a spot on Logan Paul. What are your thoughts up until this point of the John Cena retirement tour?
I can definitely say it's not as good as it could have been because of the heel turn. I get that they wanted to add, I don't know, some intrigue and some drama and whatever, but I feel like just the execution of the heel turn was what the issue was. I feel like if they could have done it correctly, it would have been like a Hollywood, it would have been cinema. Like we always say, it could have been cinema. However, just the way they did it, and adding Travis Scott in there and adding The Rock and then him not even showing up anymore, it was just like, you guys literally had the slam dunk and somehow you managed to hit it off the backboard. Like, it kind of was whatever. And then we bring him back and everybody, oh, this is all great again. And I understand the easy thing to say is, oh, they wasted a spot on Logan Paul, because we all know, we all hate him. We don't like the guy. He's a piece of shit human being. We've said it every time we talk about him on this show. However, you have to admit the guy can wrestle.
Yeah.
And if you want a really good match, I mean, it doesn't hurt to put Logan Paul in there. And if that's what, I mean, obviously we're kind of back and forth on if Cena has control on this or whatever because of things that have happened before, but I feel like you could have done worse. You could have done somebody where it was like, okay, well, I mean, like maybe say he's good on the mic, but did we really have to put him in a wrestling match with John Cena or vice versa, where it's just like he's great in the ring, but he's terrible on the mic, so it's like, it could have been somebody better. So I feel like it was good. It was I mean, the match itself was great. I feel like I appreciated the fact that they didn't bring in the usual bullshit they do with Logan Paul matches, where there wasn't any cheating, you didn't have a stupid influencer friend show up, you didn't have the prime bottle, you didn't have like whatever. You made him actually wrestle, and shocker, he can still wrestle even without the stupid shit surrounding him. So the fact that you got the crowd that was could not have white hot at that point. I think that was probably, honestly, Logan Paul's best match in quite a while, which is saying something because we always say, even though begrudgingly, he can pull out great matches, but that was definitely his best match. And how funny is it that it was when there was nothing else involved? There was no bells, no whistles, like you said. It was just a wrestling match, and he can actually do it. And of course, it helps having somebody like Cena in there, but kind of like what we said with Becky and Nikki, Cena didn't look like he was running laps around Logan too. It was pretty even. So that's what happens when you have someone that can rise to the occasion. And again, it's not dogging on Nikki. We already know what the issue was there. But when you have someone who can rise to the occasion of facing someone like a John Cena, you're going to have a fantastic match. And that was literally what this match was. It was fantastic. It had everything. I feel like the one thing it didn't have was Logan putting Cena through a table for, obvious reasons.
Ouch.
But I mean, I was glad that didn't happen. But
Stiff
that's just a minor thing there, I guess. But no, we honestly, and we also saw some interesting callbacks from Cena too. We saw a Styles Clash. We saw an Angel's Wings. We saw some fun things there. So yeah, he's pulling out all the stops. I mean, at this rate, why wouldn't you? It's nearing the end, so if you want to pull out some fun shit, pull out some fun shit. Why the hell not?
You
can do whatever the hell you want.
We were definitely picking that up while we were watching it on stream. How Cena was incorporating so many different moves. I mean, stuff we've seen him pull out like a Code Red, and then stuff he never pulled out like Angel's Wings. Shout out to Christopher Daniels. He paid a little homage to AJ Styles with the Styles Clash. We even see him pull out an End of Days. Shout out to Baron Corbin. And this is like the craziest thing. That's just the way Cena's mind works, where he's like, I can't wrestle all these guys in my retirement tour, but they had a profound impact on my career. So let me pay homage to them in a way that I can. And they do it, and then do it in this type of match, which was one of the better matches on the show, which was typical John Cena.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me at all. However, I will say, and this honestly has nothing to do with the match, it's just an observation that I've noticed. When Logan Paul tries the whole buckshot lariat thing, I hate it. It always looks so stupid. It looks so wonky. Like, leave it to Hangman. Only he can actually make it look fluid. It just, I don't know. Every time Logan Paul tries it, I'm just like, oh, God. He just makes it look so ugly, I guess. I don't know how to...
I hate the it's just fuel, it's just ammunition to start that, here they go trying to copy AEW, like, it's just, I wonder if he just doesn't understand the impact of using he might, to him it just might be a move.
He might just be that naive, but I feel like if you're that chronically online like he is, there's no fucking way you don't know, though. Like, come on.
He probably saw a Twitter clip or a GIF of it and was like, I'm definitely gonna incorporate that. I just hate to me, it's just a move, and to me, I feel like Hangman would probably answer the same way. It's just a move, it's just a move there. You could say it's whose is better for sure. You can have that argument, Hangman's got it down pat, but to make it anything bigger than that, to make it anything bigger and make it sort of an AEW versus WWE thing, that's the part that I hate.
Yeah, Which obviously that's not what I'm starting with, or that's what I'm
No,
not.
for sure, no.
It's just definitely an observation of, as someone who watches both, you see the
Oh
comparisons and you
yeah,
put them side by side, and it's just like, ew, this is fucking ugly. But yeah, either way. Other than that, though, the match itself was great.
yeah.
Like what we just said with Sheamus and Rusev, that was the match of the night leading up to that point. This was then the match leading up to the main event. But yeah, I gave this one I gave 4 flames on this one. It was fantastic.
I too gave this match
Yeah,
4 flames. I feel
just
like it.
copying each other's homework.
Yeah, I feel like it was definitely the best match on the card for sure. All the matches really delivered in their own way, but this match definitely had it where you had to pay attention. It had you on the edge of your seat. There was a lot of back and forth drama. It was a pretty great wrestling match, and I feel like the crazy thing about this is, despite however you may feel about John Cena's retirement tour, he's really
Yeah.
pulling out these great performances.
Yeah, he really is. It's just yeah, it's just a shame that it's kind of been overshadowed of everything that happened before it, but
Yeah.
it just they have to live with that. Not I mean, we have to live with it too, but still.
Well, there are less dates. We are in September, and John Cena is retiring at the end of this year in December. So we only have 3 months left of John Cena. Do you have
Single
any?
digits now.
Yeah. Do you have any predictions as to where you see it going? Who you may want to see him face in the last little bit of time we have left with him?
I mean, there's somebody I don't want to see him face, but that's just a whole other mess that I really don't want to get into. I don't know. I mean, I feel like he pretty much could fit with just about anybody at this point. Unfortunately, all the ones that I would have liked to have seen him wrestle now, he wrestled when he was, a heel, which sucks. I'd like to see him maybe revisit the whole thing with Randy again, maybe. I'd love to see him go with Punk again. That'd be fun. Hell, maybe just throw in Rollins again just for the hell of it, just because why wouldn't he or why not? But yeah, I feel like just give him whoever he wants at this point, except for one person in particular, and I'm not naming his name because he doesn't deserve me saying his name. But
He who shall not be named.
redacted.
Redacted. That's great. I love it. Yeah, it's tough because we only get a certain amount of, that's what they keep hampering on. Is like the dates are dwindling, and then every time I see that they advertise him for another event, like there was advertised for SmackDown is coming up in Chicago, and I'm like, oh no, not another day. Like
You're like, no, stop! You have to hold on to them all.
yeah,
Please.
it's just that's what we get with John Cena, and he definitely, I think he was even taken aback by the size and the amount of adulation he got from the Paris, France crowd.
No, yeah, how could you not? I mean, I feel like even the most stoic or like just veteran kind of person could get their breath taken away from that crowd. It's just, we could spend a whole podcast episode talking about these European crowds, but especially the France one in particular.
Yeah, the French. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's a better crowd that I've seen, and we've seen some pretty nuts crowd. I'm interested in seeing what it's going to be like when they go back to Europe for the Road to Royal Rumble, where they go to places like Poland and things like that. How do they react? Because like they're going to places I've never even heard of, and like these are different times. You're going to see them a lot in Germany and different parts of England and things like that. So we're going to get a different flavor crowd a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see how these European crowds react to the WWE superstars.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure.
Well, I gave the John Cena Logan Paul match 4 flames flat out of 5. What about you? What'd you give it?
4 flames.
4 flames. There you go. All right. That was probably the best match on the card, but there is still one match left, and that is the Fatal 4-Way for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins had to defend the title against CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. This was a very good Fatal 4-Way in my opinion. These things can get a little clunky, where you try to give everybody a moment to shine and show what they can do in the ring. It can get a little dicey, but I think they mapped this out very well. this entire match, and it went off without a hitch. I didn't see any clunkiness, any missteps. Everything seemed to flow very well. What'd you think of the match?
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like the biggest like error I think you could have in a match like this is if you have everybody going like 0 to 8 the
Hmm.
entire match. You have to have people play their roles in these kind of matches, and I feel like they did it damn near flawlessly because you had Rollins and Uso flying all over the place, just being like Energizer bunnies. You had CM Punk. He was kind of like seen a lot less, but I feel like you don't need to see him as much all the time. You just need him in those like big moments, and that's what he's good for there. And then LA Knight, you just kind of he was like the sleeper hit of the whole match.
Hmm.
I mean, he was. I mean, we're not surprised. All of these guys are good in their own way, and they all played off each other really well. Of course, I feel like everyone's going to talk about the ending, which I feel like we shouldn't have really been surprised that Becky's like the fourth member of the Vision. I feel like it's kind of staring you in the face the whole time,
There,
but
it's funny because they were putting out tweets, and everybody's putting out tweets once, because the situation was after Roman Reigns got beaten and battered by Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, they were both ejected from the arena by Adam Pearce and told that they could not be in the arena, they could not be at ringside for Seth Rollins' match against the other three competitors. Now, Seth Rollins, you would think, would have a panic attack thinking, oh
no.
no, there goes my grand plan, but not Seth Rollins. To Seth Rollins, the Vision is not a thing of necessity. The Vision
Yeah.
is a thing of convenience for him. So he doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily need the Vision to succeed in his ways. He's always had different ways of succeeding despite the cards being stacked up against him.
Well, he's
And
always one step ahead of everybody too. That's kind of his MO is that he always has a backup to the backup plan.
right,
So,
right. Now, I had been hearing for a long time different rumors and different smatterings of maybe this person could join the Vision, this person could join the Vision. I heard Ethan Page, I heard
he could go on.
Ricky Saints could be
Yeah.
someone to join the Vision and things like that. I even had my own, I even thought like, what about like Pete Dunne joining the
Ooh,
Vision? I think Pete
yeah.
Dunne would be a great fit for the Vision, where he's kind of the intensity of Braun Breaker and sort of the cocky swagger of Bronson Reed mixed into one. He can be the only thing that kind of bugs me is if you include someone like Pete Dunne into this thing, it kind of mirrors the Death Riders, you know,
Yeah.
and people
Yeah.
are already making that comparison now with Becky
Which I'm like,
Lynch in the
why?
yeah, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really have the same feeling. It
That's
do-
a stretch.
yeah, it is a stretch. I mean, maybe if like you would go to off my idea and be like add Pete Dunne, that'd be like adding Gabe Kidd to the Death Riders. Maybe
Yeah.
so, but the adding of Becky Lynch doesn't necessarily carry the same weight as a Marina Shafir and the Death Riders to me.
Oh, God, no. Like that. I guess if you wanted to try and compare and put like a Marina Shafir-esque like woman in the Vision just for the sake of comparison's sake, I feel like you'd have to put like
You would have
I
to
mean, I
get
want to say
somebody that's not even there. You would have to get like a Shayna Baszler.
China. Yeah, I know. I don't even
Yeah.
don't even get me started again. But I feel like on the roster, I guess you could say like a Lola Vice maybe, but even it's kind of still like stretching it a little bit.
Yeah.
But either way, it's just like the comparison. It's just like guys, just because one team, like one brand has or one like company has a big faction that's like taking up a bunch of storylines doesn't mean that well we got to compare it to the other one because there's no fucking reason to compare it. We're just doing it. It's just you're not comparing the Vision and the Death Riders. They're two completely different factions, two completely different styles. So no, like anybody who's trying to do that's just reaching for engagement at that point, and it's stupid. But yeah, to have Becky in it is again, it's almost like a well, duh. Of course, it was going to be Becky. Why wouldn't it be? And
Right.
also, it reaches into the women's division too, because we always like when factions that are predominantly male can have that female like section in there to kind of bleed into the women's division. Who
Yeah.
better than Becky? Like it wasn't going to be anybody else. If it was going to be a woman, it wasn't going to be anybody else except Becky. So we're not surprised. But now this changes a lot of things because now we're kind of bringing back the rumors and starting to catch some traction now that maybe this is how we get AJ Lee back. And I feel like, especially after what happened on Raw, if it's anybody other than AJ Lee, people are going to be fucking pissed. Like, this is just the setup. This is the easiest setup in the world. Who else would you literally have except AJ Lee? Maybe Rhea if you're stretching it, but come on. Like, it's right there. It's literally right there. Bring her back. And supposedly, again, take it for a grain of salt when you see it online that is the case after all, which sucks because it's like you're kind of spoiling it already. But I feel like it's just so obvious that it's almost just like building up that, oh, she's finally going to show up. She's finally going to show up. So when she does, it's that relief of like, fucking finally. But kind of like what we always say, there's always that little like 0.1% chance of like, but what if it isn't her though? And it's
I
just that.
think that's why they have that backup plan. If you saw on Monday Night Raw, CM Punk was talking to Rhea Ripley backstage. So I feel like that's just a backup plan.
Yeah, it's just like, I feel like that could also be, you could also call that like a red herring because some people will take the bait on that one where it's like, oh, well, fucking course it's going to be Rhea, you know, bitch about Rhea existing, which is just like, whatever, dudes. Like, people would still lose their shit if it was Rhea. I just know the online section of the fan base would get pissed because the one thing we wanted to happen didn't happen, and so now we're mad about it, which we've talked about that until we're blue in the face. But would I be mad if it was Rhea? No. Would I be disappointed? Yeah, of course, because you have everything pointing to AJ Lee right there. Like, just do it. And I feel like you almost have to, but they have other avenues, and it's nice to have those little, like, is it a red herring? Is it a legit thing? Is she really not coming back? Like, I like not really knowing what's going to happen until it happens.
Well, it kind of goes back to what I said a couple episodes ago. Just getting people into the frenzy of things, and like, you know, but the one thing that you can do in this situation is always go with what's logical. I feel like the logical thing is AJ Lee, and it's so like pinpoint on AJ Lee that they have to do this. It's almost like they have to do this. They have to basically give AJ Lee whatever she wants to make this happen, because it's become the most logical thing that you can do based on this storyline, you know? I mean, I can see them maybe if they can't get AJ Lee to do it, they could say something like AJ ask Rhea to handle this situation. But I mean, like, I can't see it happening without AJ. I mean, it's just too on the nose.
Yeah, I feel like you said, you can kind of try and spin it of, I don't know, maybe you can have Punk be like, you really tried to rope my wife into doing this and she hasn't wrestled in however long. I mean, it's been how long at this point? Like, too long. And yeah, I'm not doing that, so I'll call in the next best thing, which would be Rhea, which I'm like, yeah, I mean, I could buy that maybe, but again, like you said, it's just so on the nose of, it has to be, I mean, obviously, should it be? Absolutely, but it just like has to be AJ Lee because you got because they could also call back to that little like promo Punk and Becky had where I love that line where Punk was like, you don't need to be like relegated to somebody's wife. Like, you're a great superstar in your own right. You're the man. And if you have AJ come back, they could literally call that right back. Where it's just like, yeah, well, you know, you weren't that great. So yeah, you really are just CM Punk's wife or something. So it's like they could do that stuff. Like the promo battles would be way better if it was AJ instead of Rhea, because you got the whole, it's just right there. That's just at the end of the day, it's just right there. And it's so painfully obvious that sometimes the best thing to do is just go with what is so painfully obvious. And it has to be nobody else other than AJ Lee. It just has to be.
Yeah, I think so too. And this will be a big deal. This will be a big deal. I mean, I don't know if it'll have the same carryover effect that CM Punk's return as. But like, if it's a short-term thing where she just wants to kind of dip her toes in and kind of make an appearance and go out on a high horse, this is definitely one way to do it.
And I feel like they're kind of already telegraphing it, because when Punk was talking to Pierce backstage, he's like, "Where's SmackDown this week?" And he's like, "It's in Chicago." And he's like, "Oh, tremendous." It's like, okay, well, what the hell else could that have meant other than just it's your hometown? Like,
She's
come
there.
on.
She lives in
She's
Chicago.
there.
She lives in Chicago with you. Come
She's there. So it's like,
on.
it's right. Again, it's right fucking there. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, but as far as the match goes, the match was a really fun fatal four-way match. For me, it can kind of be hard because I have attention problems. So when you have a fatal four-way, there's something happening over here, there's something happening over here, over here, over here. It's craziness, it's chaos. So sometimes it could be very hard to pay attention and stay locked in and focus on the match, but they did a really good job of pacing this out, having different parts, like when they finally all three realized, hey, we should probably team up and beat the shit out of Seth Rollins because he's been a thorn in our backside for however long. So they finally went after Seth Rollins. Punk has looked very good. I always have reservations about Punk because of his age. He is getting up there in age. He is getting a little older. So the body tends to break down and the body doesn't recover the way that it used to. So I'm always watching Punk, and he seems to be very solid since he came back from his injury. And his matches, I mean, he's one of the best in the company right now.
Yeah, and that's probably why they didn't use him as much in that match, because they didn't need to. You had three other capable guys to carry the workload, where, like I said, you had Punk come in during the big moments, but he didn't have to be the focal point 24/7, because maybe 10, 15 years ago it would have been a completely different story, but you don't need him to fulfill that purpose or that role now. So it was perfect timing, perfect people in that match to do it with, and yeah, turned out fun. I definitely enjoyed that one.
Definitely, for sure. Well, the ending came where CM Punk had things well in hand, about to win the World Heavyweight Championship with a go to sleep, when suddenly, out of nowhere, from behind, he gets low blowed by someone ironclad in a black mask and a hoodie. Come to find out, it was the man, Becky Lynch. They said that there was possibly a fourth man. They just didn't say what type of man. It was the man who comes in, and she low blows CM Punk, allowing Seth Rollins to hit a curb stomp on a steel chair and get the 1, 2, 3 to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. I ended up giving this one 3 3/4 flames. How about you?
Of course, 3 3/4 flames. Just nothing could beat that Cena Logan Paul match. Nothing.
Yeah, definitely nothing could beat that match. That was the match of the night. But this one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I just feel like Seth Rollins and CM Punk are destined to do this forever. Like,
yeah,
the
they're
hatred,
the wrestling soulmates.
yeah, the hatred is so there.
Oh yes.
And then like you fast forward to Monday Night Raw. CM Punk wants to call out Seth Rollins. He gets Becky Lynch instead. Becky Lynch just goes off on him and starts wailing away and smacking him and pushing him, and just, oh my God, it was just like, there's some hate. There's some legit hate behind this feud here.
Yeah, she did not hold back on those at all. Oh, and again, it's just like, they telegraphed it even then too. He said, "You're going to pay for putting your hands on me." He's not going to put his hands on you, so who's the next best person to do it? AJ Lee. Again, it's there. It's there. If you're there, if you pay attention, it's there.
It's definitely there. And man, don't we get to reap the benefits as wrestling fans to see this wrestling soulmate rivalry play out in front of us.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a win-win for everybody.
Yep, that's basically the best way to put it. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our official breakdown of Clash in Paris that happened this past Sunday. It was the final PLE on Peacock. Now here's the thing: you don't want to get rid of your Peacock if you're a fan of NXT, because as they mentioned on Raw, NXT premium live events will still be shown on Peacock. So
They just keep getting you. You keep having to add more shit.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna take the bait because I haven't
Yeah.
been able to keep up with NXT since we stopped covering it on the streams. So I haven't been able to keep up, and it's just very tempting to like get rid of that extra $16 bill when you get everything else for free, all the PLEs on ESPN.
Yeah, it's just again, we've talked about it ad nauseum. It's just the corporate greed and oh well we'll just trust that everybody's gonna follow suit. And it's just like, okay, well don't be so sure about that one because NXT is great, but it still doesn't really it just kind of boils down to like we've said before, sometimes you just don't have enough time to
Oh
watch all of
yeah,
this shit and keep up and actually have a life outside of wrestling
right.
because you have stuff on Mondays, on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, on Fridays, on Saturdays. So it's like you get 1 or 2 days a week if you're lucky. And then on top of that, if there's a PLE in the way, then you really have time. It's just yeah, sometimes you don't need to watch everything.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just need a break.
and what's also killing it too is like these afternoon Monday Night Raw shows
Oh,
are killer because
yeah.
everybody's pretty much still at work, you know.
Hmm.
So like the engagement is not really there. I find myself watching the shows alone. That's why I didn't do a stream for Monday Night Raw this past Monday because my usual friends that come to hang out during the normal times, they're all at work,
Yeah.
and nobody's around. So it as great as it is to have all this access to wrestling, it's getting confusing. And for some
Hmm.
people who have to pay that $30 extra charge just to get the PLEs, it's becoming a financial burden.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that you can try and work your way around it because there are some places locally. I know like here, I don't know about where you are. They have bars and restaurants and stuff that will play the shows or like the pay-per-views on like the big screens at sports bars and stuff. Like I have a couple of places around here that will, which is all great. You don't have to pay for the pay-per-view. However, you pay for food, you pay for alcohol if you drink, but either way, you're still paying for food, you're paying for the gas to get there. So are you really saving money in the long pay one way or the other, unfortunately? And I mean, unless you do it illegally, but even then, is it really worth getting the virus on your computer?
Yeah,
Like, I don't think it is, but
yeah, it's gonna be tough
it's just,
because
yeah.
WrestlePalooza, which is the first PLE that's going to be on the ESPN platform, is counter programming AEW All Out.
Yeah. And that's in, what, a couple weeks? I don't think it's the 13th. I
No,
think it's
it's
the
the
20th, right? Or 27th.
it's the 20th.
Okay, we're good then. Because I'm like, we would have had a
Yeah,
problem there because I have a full weekend that weekend. So yeah, the 20th, it should be fine. But and then there's your problem too for people like us. Well, what the hell are we going to do? You're going to have to pick between one or the other because we can't watch both. I mean, you
yeah,
could try to. It's just that's a person with ADHD's worst nightmares having to focus
it's
on
not.
two shows at once. Like,
Yeah,
not
it's
going to
not.
happen.
It's not
But
gonna happen.
yeah, so you kind of have to pick and choose there, and it's very tough because AEW might incentivize us with some really good matches, but then with WWE, it's like you might get AJ Lee back, so it's like, is that going to be worth missing all of AEW? So it's just like, fuck's sake,
Not
it's
only
just,
that, they WWE already came out hitting hard. They already
yeah,
booked Stephanie Vicaire and Io Sky for the vacant WWE Women's Championship. So
yeah, that was a
like,
big middle finger to AEW on that one.
yeah, that's already that right there is a headliner for PLE on any month, on any day,
Oh yeah, oh yes.
against any program. Like
Hmm.
and like for people who have ESPN that are like flipping through the channels and they're like, oh snap, wrestling's back on ESPN. They're gonna see Stephanie Vicaire and Io Sky
Yeah.
ripping it up,
Uh-huh.
and then what's everybody else doing? How many people are willingly gonna pay $50 extra, compared to the
Yeah.
people that have ESPN already in their TV packages that
And
are
that's just the thing too. Like, how has AEW not kind of gone the route of like Peacock and Netflix and stuff like that and put it on Max? You already have your TV programming on Max. So
right?
why not just put the pay-per-views on there too? Because we've talked about it before many times where, yeah, after a while, once a month, for every month out of the year, you're going to pay $50, $60 a pay-per-view, and there are going to be some times where you're going to be pissed because you spend $50, $60 on a very shitty average pay-per-view, and you're like, well, that was a waste of time.
Right.
You can't really say that with WWE, where it's like, yeah, the pay-per-view might not have been bad, but we also only paid like $5 to $15 a month for it, or in ESPN's case, for some people, 30. But it's just you don't have that argument of you get what you pay for, because you didn't pay as much as you did with an AEW pay-per-view, where it's, I get what they're coming from, but it's like, guys, you've been doing this long enough that you're gonna have to make it cheaper for some people, because it's just not great. It's not business sense. It's not smart sometimes, but maybe they'll catch on at some point.
And the thing is, I think if AEW was to put all of their pay-per-views on like the HBO Max platform, they probably get way more people actually watching the pay-per-views, like, because it's a matter of convenience. Obviously the price is a argument, but the price is also a matter of convenience. I already have HBO Max, so it's way more convenient for me. I could go and watch the All Out pay-per-view right after WrestlePalooza, or I could watch it whenever, but at least I saw it,
Yeah. And if not, and now you have to be like, well, I have to pay. I mean, you're already paying for the WWE for WrestlePalooza, but then you have to go and pay for the AEW pay-per-view, but then you also have to wait until the next day to watch it, because the replay is not going to be available until the next day. So it's like, yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of convenience, and sometimes AEW's pay-per-views are not the most convenient things to watch.
For
but
sure. Yeah.
We digress.
Yeah, see, that takes us into a lot of conversation that we can have for the next episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast, and the next couple of episodes, because we don't have to wait till the 20th. So the next couple of episodes, we're going to go back to our original format, opening up the lines of communication with you guys, and you guys can send us in questions about what's going on in the world of wrestling. So if you want to discuss these matters further, the option is there for you guys to do so by asking us questions. We would love to engage with you guys. So anybody that's out there listening, you can ask us questions. We'll have the questions tweet up next Monday afternoon. That's where we usually get most of our questions, is through Twitter. So I'll post up the questions tweet Monday afternoon, and you can leave it there. It's also available in our Discord. We have a channel for podcast questions, and the Discord link is any sort of place where there's a description for this episode, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. In the description are links to our Discord, links to all of our social media, and links to our Twitch channel where we do some live streaming as well. So you can join us there as well to further engage with us on the podcast.
Yeah. That was a mouthful. It's impressive how you always do that.
Well,
it's almost like you have it down to a science.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for so long. It just comes second nature at this point. Just to let you guys know, this podcast, like I said, is available all across the board on the internet, on multiple platforms. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find it. All you have to do is search the Ringside Rundown, hit the follow or subscribe button, whatever the platform asks of you, and you will never miss an episode. New episodes drop every Wednesday morning, where Shay and I discuss the happenings of what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. Like I said, I do Twitch streams every Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, Friday Night SmackDown, and AEW Collision on Twitch. So if you want to hang out with me and talk wrestling with me while we're watching these shows, you could do so by going to twitch.tv/ringside rundown, hit the follow button so that way you get notified anytime I go live. You'll get notified. It's on Twitch, twitch.tv/ringside rundown. Like I said, we're available all across the board on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Ringside Rundown. So if you have a platform that you would like to have the podcast on, just send us a DM what platform that is. We will get you a link on a silver platter, but the caveat is you have to give us back the silver platter because it belongs to Shay's mom, and she's a 10th degree black belt in some serious stuff. Like, I think Batman, they modeled it after your mom. You know how Batman knows like 10 different styles of combat? I feel like that fits your mom.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. And she's also very mad because she had the title since we had our little like issue with the rules at the last AEW pay-per-view. So she's a little mad now because she doesn't have the title anymore. It's back where it actually belongs. No offense, Mom, but
wow.
she's not too happy about it. So I would not
Wow.
mess with her. Let's say that.
Yeah, so get that silver platter back to her as soon as possible. Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
Find me on Twitter, my wrestling Twitter, at @ShayRingside_. Like I always say, it's like Eric's account, but just with my name.
Yeah,
So
she
if you want
stole
to hear all my wrestling talks, go ahead.
she stole my gimmick.
Yeah, see, hey, you still got the big numbers though, so I'll give you that.
I've just been doing this too long. Too long.
It has been a while, hasn't it?
We've been
It
doing
really
it.
has.
We've been doing this since June 2021, and we know
Yeah.
we have no plan to stop. I think this is episode 173. Man,
I think so.
we're getting some big round numbers.
Yeah, we're getting. We're gonna blink and it's gonna be 200 at this point. Like it's just insane to think about. It's been that long, and yet it doesn't also feel that long. If it makes sense, time's a myth at this rate. Like we say it all the time. It's time blinks, but it also doesn't blink at the same time. So
there you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast, where Shay and I discuss the happenings of Paris, France, and Clash in Paris. What a show. What a week in Paris it was for the WWE. Thank you to the Paris crowd for being energetic and rambunctious and adding to the show and bringing wrestling to life on the screen. Shout out to everyone in Paris, France, and France in general who went to those shows and made those shows special. Thank you from one wrestling fan to another. Next week, we'll be back with our usual format of answering your questions about what's going on in the world of wrestling. So hopefully you're there. Hopefully you have your questions ready. So for Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez, and we'll talk to you next week, guys. Have a good one.
see you later, guys.